Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going on a deep dive into the Washington Quarter, a coin that looks ordinary in your hand but carries an extraordinary story across art, history, metal, and money, and by the end of this video you will know exactly why some of these quarters are worth only face value while others have soared to breathtaking prices at auction, sometimes beyond what anyone imagined. So let us begin at the beginning, with the origin of the design and the reason this coin even exists. In the early 1930s, the United States was in the grip of the Great Depression, and the nation was approaching the 200th birthday of George Washington. Congress and the Treasury sought a circulating tribute that would honor the first president and also give Americans a steady symbol of leadership in a difficult period. Plans at first centered on a $50. Yet the decision shifted to the quarter because that denomination was already a daily workhorse in commerce and would keep the image of Washington constantly in public view. The sculptor John Flanagan prepared the portrait based on the celebrated bust by the French artist Jean-Antoine Houdon, and the result was the left-facing profile that has become one of the most familiar images in American coinage, framed by the word liberty above, "In God we trust" to the left, and the date below, while the reverse carried a powerful heraldic eagle perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath. A visual balance of strength and peace that resonated strongly with the values the country wished to project. The first issues in 1932 were struck at Philadelphia with no mint mark, at Denver with a small d, and at San Francisco with a small s, and these would become a foundation for one of the longest-running series in United States coinage. Now let us talk about what the coin actually is in hand. The original Washington Quarter was produced in a composition of 90% silver and 10% copper, giving it a bright luster and a satisfying heft. Each coin weighs 6.25 grams and measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, with a reeded edge that not only looks sharp but historically discouraged the shaving of metal from the edges. That silver composition continued through 1964, and because of the metal content these coins still hold intrinsic value. After 1964, the United States Mint changed the composition to a clad structure with outer layers of copper and nickel bonded over a pure copper core, dropping the weight to 5.67 grams while keeping the same diameter and edge. This change was triggered by the rising cost of silver and the pressure it placed on circulating coinage. The transition itself is a central chapter in the story of the quarter since it divides the series into a silver era and a modern clad era. Collectors often build sets around that line, some focusing on the classic silver years from 1932 to 1964 and others exploring both the silver period and the later clad period that includes the 50 state quarters, the territories and national parks program, and now the American women quarters. While the obverse portrait of Washington has received touch-ups over time and the reverse switched to state and park themes for many years, the soul of the coin remained that strong Washington profile, and the quarter became a canvas for American imagery. That is the broad background, but what excites collectors are the key dates, the varieties, the proof issues, and of course the auction results that prove just how valuable a small piece of metal can become. Within the first year itself there are two legendary rarities, the 1932 Denver and the 1932 San Francisco. Both coins had low mintages, with fewer than 500,000 pieces struck at each branch mint, and because the nation was not heavily using new coinage during the Depression, fewer of these were saved in high grade. A surviving coin with crisp luster and minimal contact marks is truly scarce, and the best of these have sold for enormous sums. Auction houses have recorded prices well into 5 figures and beyond, with certified mint state coins graded by major services like PCGS and NGC bringing records that make headlines among numismatists. And while not every collector chases the finest known examples, the existence of these records underlines the importance of condition, luster, and strike. Those three features often do more to separate a $100 coin from a $10,000 coin than any other factor. Beyond the key dates there are varieties that capture attention. The 1934 double die on the obverse with clear doubling in the motto. The 1950 D over S mint mark that shows one mint mark punched over another during an era of hand-punched mint mark practice. And the 1943 San Francisco double die obverse. These coins prove that close study with a loupe can uncover hidden value. Then there are dramatic error coins where a Washington quarter was struck off-center, struck on a smaller planchet such as a dime blank, or struck with one of its clad layers missing. The modern era even saw a famous 1970 San Francisco proof quarter that was struck on a Canadian planchet. And that piece brought more than $30,000 at sale. And this tells us a simple rule: even a modern quarter can be a treasure if the circumstances are special. Let us dig deeper into the power of condition because it truly guides value. Washington quarters that look common in circulated grades can become scarce in gem mint state. The coin traveled widely in daily commerce, lived through wartime and post-war economies, and most pieces picked up bag marks, scuffs, and worn fields almost immediately. A coin that manages to survive with blazing luster, a full strike, and nearly mark-free surfaces stands out dramatically. Especially for earlier 40s and 50s dates where production quality varied by mint and by year, you will often hear collectors talk about full luster and attractive toning, the shimmering cartwheel in the light and the thin rainbow at the rims, and these eye appeal factors move prices more than a simple number suggests. A widely available date graded at a very high level can sell for several hundred to a few $1,000 because it satisfies a registry set competition where collectors try to assemble the finest complete sets, and those contests have fueled astonishing premiums for the top population coins. Proof coins deserve their own mention. Although proofs are not intended for circulation, they show the highest finish the mint could produce for collectors. Earlier proofs from the 1930s are scarce and prized, and post-war proofs from Philadelphia and later San Francisco can become valuable when they display deep cameo contrast, meaning frosted devices and mirror fields. A deep cameo proof quarter of a particular year can draw strong bidding, and when you combine a proof with a variety such as a double die or a mint mark peculiarity, the results can be thrilling. Please remember that all these values climb and fall with the tide of overall demand. The market for Washington quarters is very active and global. Which leads us naturally to the part of this story that many want to hear first, the big auction numbers. Over the years, the headline results have featured the best survivors of the key dates and carefully preserved early issues. A superb 1932 Denver certified at the highest levels has passed the $100,000 mark, and a number of other top-grade early silver quarters have ranged into the tens of thousands. Even middle-grade examples of the Denver and San Francisco coins bring solid four-figure prices because of their scarcity. Unusual errors and transitional pieces also command major attention. Remember that 1964 was the last year of circulating silver quarters, so the appearance of a 1965 struck on a leftover silver planchet is a dream find. Authentication is essential, but when real, such a coin can draw thousands of dollars. The same is true for quarters missing a clad layer where the coin reveals a copper underbody on one face, or an off-center strike that shows a dramatic crescent of blank planchet. Modern variety fever exploded during the state quarters program, with the 1999 Delaware Spitting Horse die crack and the 2004 Wisconsin Extra Leaf High and Extra Leaf Low reverse variety becoming the talk of collecting circles. Those coins showed that the Washington quarter could still surprise after decades of circulation. While prices fluctuate, nice examples continue to sell briskly. For context, it is helpful to divide the market into four broad categories. First, there are common clad circulation strikes from 1965 forward. Most of these are worth face value unless they are high grade or carry a variety or error. Second, there are silver-era circulation strikes from 1932 through 1964. Even well-worn examples carry a melt floor that moves with the silver price. At current silver, it often means several dollars each simply. 4. Bullion content. Third, there are proofs and special finishes which can bring strong premiums for deep cameo or for early dates with low survival. Fourth, there are key dates, top-grade survivors, and recognized varieties that push into much higher territory, from hundreds to thousands to tens of thousands, and in a few elite cases, into six figures. Another essential topic is grading and preservation. Since value is so sensitive to condition, cleaning can destroy value and is the most common mistake new collectors make. A shiny surface that looks bright to the eye often hides hairlines from cleaning and reduces the grade. Original skin with natural luster and honest wear is always preferable. Safe storage in inert holders and a cool, dry environment helps prevent new marks or corrosive damage. Independent third-party grading services encapsulate coins in tamper-evident holders and assign standardized grades. And that has become the common language of buyers and sellers. Registry set competition, as mentioned earlier, has fueled a race for the finest known examples, and that is one reason a relatively available date can have one or two coins at the very top of the census that sell for prices far beyond the next grade down. Now let us step back and look at the river of designs that flowed after the classic eagle reverse. The quarter became the stage for the 50 state quarters beginning in 1999. Each state received a reverse celebrating a historic person, symbol, or landmark, and this program ignited a new generation of collecting by simply inviting people to check their change. Millions of families started jars and folders, and that rush of interest spilled back into earlier Washington quarters. The Territories program followed, then the America the Beautiful National Parks program, and now the American Women Quarter Series. Each run introduced new reverse art while retaining Washington on the obverse as a steady anchor for investors and collectors alike. The series offers multiple ways to build a set. One can hunt a short set of the silver years only, one can collect a typeset with a classic silver, a clad circulation strike, a proof, and a modern special, or one can go all in for a date and mint mark set that stretches from 1932 through modern issues. The next element in this wide view is the international market. American coinage is collected all over the world, and the Washington quarter is the most familiar United States denomination abroad because of its long life and the state quarter program that reached international media. auction houses in Europe and Asia now regularly list high-grade Washington quarters, and international bidders compete for the key dates and finest graded examples. This has two effects. First, it enlarges the buyer pool, which supports values for rare pieces. And second, it encourages careful certification and provenance so that a top coin can travel between continents with confidence. International dealers also trade silver Washington quarters in bulk for bullion value, which means silver price swings can pull sets of worn coins across borders as a commodity. The coexistence of bullion demand and numismatic demand gives the series a unique stability. Even in softer collector markets, the bullion floor offers a safety net for silver-era pieces. While in hot collector markets, the numismatic premium becomes the star. People often ask for a simple summary of current values, and the best simple answer is to begin with these anchors. Common clad quarters from 1965 onward usually hold face value unless they are uncirculated in very high grade or have a recognized error or variety. Silver Washington quarters from 1932 through 1964 have a melt value that rises and falls with spot silver, and then a numismatic value on top that depends on date, mint mark, and condition. Many common dates in bright uncirculated condition fetch $10 to $50 each, while key dates and scarce varieties push into hundreds and thousands. The famous 1932 Denver and 1932 San Francisco quarters dominate the conversation because their low mintages and survival challenges make them the pillars of the series. Mid-grade pieces can already be costly, and high-grade pieces can be spectacular. Modern proofs with deep cameo contrast and perfect mirrors also attract strong bidding and memorable. Errors such as missing clad layer quarters or transitional silver strikes bring eye-opening results. One more practical point for collectors searching rolls or checking pocket change: the easiest way to identify a silver Washington quarter at a glance is by the solid edge color rather than the copper sandwich seen on clad edges. The ring of sound is also different when gently tapped, although that is not a substitute for careful testing. If you have a quarter that seems oddly thin, off-color, or incorrectly struck, set it aside for closer inspection, and never attempt to clean any coin you suspect may be valuable, as even a light wipe can cost you dearly. Finally, let us bring all these threads together. The Washington quarter is a mirror of American life across 90 years. It debuted in a time of hardship. It carried the face of the first president into daily transactions. It bridged the silver era and the modern clad era, and it flourished as a storytelling platform for the states and parks and people of the nation. It offers a complete education in numismatics for anyone who wants to learn. When we dive deeper into the Washington quarter beyond its long history and its notable market prices, what truly fascinates collectors are the unique features that distinguish this coin from other denominations and even from itself across the decades. Because the Washington quarter has gone through several design transitions that reveal not only artistic intent but also historical context. Starting with its original design by sculptor John Flanagan in 1932, which was chosen to honor the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, and collectors admire the detailed profile of Washington's bust, the fine hair details, the subtle differences in font style, mint marks, and rim thickness that vary by year and mint location, with the reverse eagle design on pre-1999 issues being iconic for its bold, heraldic look, while post-1999 saw the launch of the wildly popular 50-state quarters program, and later the America the Beautiful quarters, all of which changed the appeal of these coins dramatically in the collector community. But what makes the Washington quarter truly intriguing is not just these design variations but the subtle errors, die cracks, double dies, and off-center strikes that sometimes slip through the minting process, making those examples incredibly desirable even if the coin is otherwise worn or damaged. Because rarity in damaged or circulated condition still carries weight in numismatics, as certain mint errors or low mintage years are so scarce that collectors will chase even imperfect pieces, and this demand is further fueled by the fact that high-grade, uncirculated specimens of rare dates like the 1932D and 1932S are already beyond the reach of many average hobbyists, so damaged or lower-grade examples give newcomers a chance to own a piece of numismatic history at a more approachable level. And in terms of collector demand, Washington quarters continue to enjoy international recognition, as their iconic design and historical continuity make them collectible far beyond the United States, with coin shows and online auctions often featuring spirited bidding wars on both pristine and circulated examples, proving that the appeal of this coin truly transcends condition alone. And for those interested in collecting, several tips can help maximize both enjoyment and value. Always learn to distinguish between common date circulated quarters and key dates like the 1932D, 1932S, or major error coins. Consider grading services if you believe your coin is of significant rarity or high quality. Store your collection in protective holders to preserve condition, and keep an eye on auction results both domestically and internationally. since record sales and the millions of dollars have been achieved for certain quarters in pristine or rare error forms, showing the massive potential of this series. But at the same time, collectors should remember that patience, research, and attention to detail are the keys to success in numismatics, and with the Washington Quarter there is always something new to discover, whether you are just starting or already deep into the hobby, because this coin is more than just a piece of change. It is a window into American history, artistry, and the fascinating world of rare collectibles, making it one of the most enduring and rewarding coins to study, collect, and cherish.